But we have to approach this real quick, okay? So the CPI data today, I guess, surprised some people. That's the inflation number in the U.S. I guess it came in a little bit higher than people were anticipating. I had no real idea what people were anticipating, and the number's probably fake anyway. But I guess it came in at like 3.1% or something like that. But more importantly, what that does affect is the May 1st Fed meeting, the FOMC in May, which you and I have been saying for 3 to 6 months probably now, that we think that that's probably where we see the Fed pivot, or at least the very first point in time in which we could see the Fed pivot. Well, the market generally agreed with us. They were pretty much 60-40 in favor that the Fed would cut rates in that May 1st meeting until this reading came out today. That has done a 180 now. So now only 40% expect a pivot in May, and the majority believe that we will have the Fed hold interest rates in May. This is really interesting because it kind of resets the time frame for everything here. You know, we were expecting that in May. The next meeting isn't until at least mid or late June. So if it wouldn't go according to the plan that you and I thought he walked, to where we see the pivot in May, which again, if you're just catching up or aren't, somebody that's been that interested or follow like how macroeconomics work in this kind of environment with Fed hiking and cutting rates, when they do pivot like that throughout history, we see an average of a 27% drawdown in the stock market. So there is a significant drawdown after that. So if we get this delayed past May and into at least June, who knows, maybe even late summer, what do you think that could mean for the markets? Because we're obviously not going to go down by then, but what I'm thinking is, we may see that sell off of Bitcoin after the halving, but I really think that if they would hold rates and we wait until June, July, whatever it is, we could have a really good alt season here. Like, I think we could see things pump hardcore because, as you were just looking, Ewok, Bitcoin dominance is going to be coming down. I believe we're due for that alt season. I think this delay could really help that. And then I want your thoughts on that. But then my other question is, how much sense would it make too with these inflation numbers coming in like that? And we know that the stock market's going to be affected by the Fed pivoting. How much of this also would be just to protect the stock market? We are in an election year to help out the incumbent president, quote unquote, that we have right now. How much could it be that we want to keep the markets up to also help him and keep everything kind of hunky-dory looking as we head into November for the U.S. election? What do you think of all those scenarios?
Yeah, I think the second option that you gave is probably more realistic. I think they're protecting price because if they do lower it in May, it's usually 5-6 months, and you do get a pullback. Well, that's right around election time. So I do think there's probably some discussions being had about protecting things for a little bit longer and say, hey, well, let's do it right after the election. At least if the new guy gets in, then we can blame him, just right, like they always do. And because that's the way the polls are looking right now, right? It's looking like we'll probably have a new president. So I have a feeling,
or a return president, anyway,
or
a repeat president.
But when I say new, it's like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not the same. So yeah, I have a feeling that is more what's happening. I don't think it's because the rates are everything is down to where they not where they anticipate it, but it's down. It's headed in the right direction. I feel that there's political theater happening behind the scenes that is what's causing the delay of the pivot. So
I think that will definitely be why. And yeah, so far, like pretty much every time that we've had these polls, I don't mean the election ones, but the polls going into the Fed decision, they've been right on them. So we're still a ways out. We're almost 3 months out from that next meeting.
And you said this one switched from 60-40 to the opposite, right?
Correct. Yeah. It did a 180 basically.
Yeah.
So we will monitor that, but yeah, it would certainly be interesting because that's what everybody's kind of been expecting. And if we get that extended out, we could be in for a good run here for a little while. So
yeah,
Nothing we
Yep.
can really do about it, of course, but good to monitor and plan around a little bit because it can make things very interesting here throughout 2024.